Today we are going to do this beautiful Certina ladies watch, and no joke, a cat has been playing with this one for one afternoon and then it didn't run. As ever, I don't do any work up front, so I really don't know what's wrong with this movement. So for me it's an adventure and a surprise as much as for you. And there we are. Again, I don't know what to expect. Oh my god, there's a lot of... You see the hairs and the fibers and the stuff you don't really want to see in a watch. Well, there's a two hands, nice flat movements, Swiss made. And see what we got here. Yeah, original Certina, of course, Swiss made. This simply says it's stainless steel back. So we can polish this case back, but probably not this case here. Might not be visible for you guys, but maybe you can see it when I take it like this. You see it? Well, that needs some attention. At least what you see is the dial is loose from the movement. Well, this is a good point. The studs are loose from the movement, but I can't turn it around, so at least one stud is still in place, and probably two. And this is why. Here is one screw missing, and oh, the other one is still in place, but still just loose. I think it's time for a famous drawing. And it is a dial stud. Or dial foot. And it's fixed like this, and on one side the screw is just missing, so then you get a up and down movement. So on one side one dial feed screw is missing. If the two, let me see, if the two are missing, then you can rotate the dial, but that's not the case now. So for this very small movement, I'm going to remove the hands. Making a new piece of plastic, and all of you probably seen this before, how I remove the hands. As ever, I'm saying that there are several ways of removing the hands, and whatever gives you the best result, that's per definition the best way of removing the hands. I like these tiny Bergeon tools. I've got slightly bigger ones and huge ones with a bigger radius if some force needs to be applied. But for this small lady movement, I like these. I placed a film of plastic over the complete movement. Hey Adrie, goed je te zien, wat leuk. And when I lift the hands, I'm not touching the dial nor the hands, and they can't fly upwards. So for me, this is the safest way of removing the hands. And you have nice control over the force you use. But again, there's several more, plenty more, with a Presto tool and whatever you like. Look at those scratches. There is no need for that. That's just a shame. And here you can see the base metal of the movement is probably brass, and then this one is probably nickel plated. But those scratches are, well, not needed. I don't want to be respectful to other watchmakers, but oh well. Room for improvement. We see it's not an Inca block, but it's shock protected. There's a hair in there, is there? Do you see it? There's a dark line just it might be. At least we know this is one. That one. Yeah. Oh, that looks like a hair. That one over there. But you probably have spotted that as well. Mainspring, or the hairspring, sorry, looks okay. Mainspring. And if I move it, the balance there's no sideway movement in the balance, so the pivots are okay. That's important. Oh, well spotted, Jan. Very good. Jan Binnendijk spotted that on this side it is Inca block, and on the other side there's another kind of shock protection. Heel goed, Jan, of Peter. Leuk dat jullie dat ook zien. So the pivots seem okay. We do need quite some cleaning. There we are. There we see the pivot in the jewel. The scratch on the balance, yeah, here's a scratch, and usually poising is not on this side. And no, I can't believe that this scratch is poising. No. This might be production. I'm not sure. This might even be in production. And if you change the balance, you don't usually change the balance cock. At first I like to remove the cannon pinion, and this movement didn't have a sub-second, so I needed to be not too careful with a pivot pointing out of the movement. Well, there we go. Well, now I would like to remove the power from the mainspring. There we are. So as you can see, all powers from the mainspring. Basically what we have done is when there's power on the mainspring and on this now I'm holding the power in the mainspring, and simply what we've done is now the mainspring is at ease. There's no tension left in the mainspring. This is exactly the same as we're doing in a watch. When we wind the watch, basically we are doing this. As we saw before, the pedal fork is loose. There's no tension on the mainspring. And just to be sure, I'm first removing the ratchet wheel. There's some play. That needs to be addressed. Okay, but now we're sure there's no tension whatsoever on the gear train from the barrel, center wheel to the third wheel, fourth wheel, secondenrad, and the escape wheel, de veerton, centrumrad, derde rad, secondenrad en hier het ankerrad met het anker. So now I can safely remove the pallet fork. A hair. You can see a hair going over it. And there. And now I would like to see a bit more above the pallet fork. Wow.